Hello and welcome to the Corona Yoga Challenge. Today is day 190 and we're up to 43,000. It's a big jump over the last 4 days. Do check my website for adaptations, way to modify, keep yourself safe. Do subscribe if you would like to. On my website you'll find home practice journals, which are really, well, I'm quite in love with them, but then I've spent ages looking at the colours and laying them out nicely. We're going to start today, if you want to start by coming into all fours. So you're just going to set yourself into a comfortable all fours position. So you've got a little bit of space between your hands, a little bit of space between your knees, and you're going to start to sway yourself from one side to the other side. So you're looking for a little bit of space on the side of the waist as you come over into that side. So as the weight travels to the right, look for space on the right side of the body. As the weight travels into the left hand, left knee, find space in the left side. So just slide back and forth a couple of times. Start to notice the areas that have got lots of movement and freedom, and the areas where you think, oh gosh, I'd really like just to be able to ease that out a little bit more. And then bring yourself back to the centre. We're going to come into arching the back up, and we're just going to hold it for a moment. So very, very slowly come into it and feel that you're gently extending up through the back of the rib cage where the bra strap is, or would be if you don't wear one, letting the shoulders come down. So we're getting that lovely arching up, and try to imagine that almost curve like a shell coming up from the sacrum, round through the back, down through the head. And then lengthen out, come into your neutral. And then same thing, see if you can just slowly lift and almost spiral up and into that shape. And then lengthen out again. From here, if you take one knee right up towards your hands, sink your hips down towards your heel, and get that feeling of being able to sit evenly onto this heel. So try not to rock off the heel. Try to make sure that you're steady coming downwards in this kind of very direct fashion. If you have less flexibility, you might find that you're up here. The thing is to feel comfortable, and then when you find you're comfortable, to sink your shoulders down the back of the body. Get that little lift up and through the collarbones. And then slide your leg back. And we're going to come over to the other side. So the leg is going to come up and then sink down through the hips. See if you can settle the shoulders down, get that little lift through the tummy. So we've got a feeling of kind of an integrated pose. So we're all together, all here. We're not just one part of the body. Press into the hands, slide your leg back. And we're going to come to the first side again. So you're sinking your hip down, and then you're going to walk your hands in towards your foot. Shoulders are going to release down, and you're going to get a feeling of a little scooping back and round through the back of the waist. Just enjoy that feeling and feel that connection through the back foot. And then press into the hands, slide your leg back, and we'll come to the opposite side. So same thing, we're setting the hip down in the direction of the floor. We're keeping the pelvis nice and even, and then you're walking your hands in towards you so the shoulders can release. Back toes stay active on the floor, hips stay nice and even. Pressing into the hands, slide yourself back and into all fours. And if you come onto your hands for a moment, let your body have just a little bit of a free, easy move around. Think about a little bit of arching or swaying. Just notice how your body would like to move right now, because usually we'll know. You'll think, oh yeah, shoulders or back of the waist or lower back. You're going to walk your hands back towards your knees, and then you're going to lift up with your hips. You're going to slide yourself forwards and down. So soften down so you can rest your elbows onto your thighs. Release the head down. Enjoy that feeling of folding forwards and inwards. Bend through your knees. You're going to spread wide and up through the hands. You're going to come all the way up and overhead, and then hands are going to come down to your heart. We're going to do a little bit of work in standing now. So we're going to come towards a kind of a version of half moon pose. So half moon pose is where we're spread out and wide. So what we're going to do is we're going to take weight into the front foot, settle it down onto your mat, hands are going to come wide, and then just lift up through the back foot. See where your body's happy to come to. You might want to have your hand on a bit of support. You might want to get that feeling of support from there so that you can turn almost round through the back leg. So we're opening the hips out somewhat. And then you're going to dip yourself a little bit forwards and out. And then press down through the front foot, bring yourself up, back to standing. And then we're going to do the opposite side. So foot steps down, hands come wide, find a bit of support if you need it. Gently expand out through the hips and then slowly come into it if you would like to. Press down through the standing foot, bring yourself back. Both feet find the floor. We're going to do that from the floor now. So start with one foot forward, back heel slightly lifted. Take your hand down and onto the ground and then let the back lift, back leg lift. And from there just see, does your free hand want to come to the side? Does it want to come up and out? So you can get a similar feeling. And then bring your foot down to the floor, settle down into the hands and the tops of the fingers. And then we're going to extend the opposite foot out to the back. Same movement in the pelvis, so we've got that slight opening out. And then choosing what you want to do with your free hand. Do you want to lift it up and out? Do you want it to stay on the floor? Bring your hand down to the floor. Foot comes down to the floor. And we're going to come into dog pose for a moment. So if you just let your feet walk back a little bit, so you can lift up and out through the tailbone, get that slight feeling of lifting up into the tummy to extend back through the hips, and a nice feeling of steady down through the balls of the feet to get that feeling of life coming up through the legs. From here you're going to walk your hands in towards your feet, settle your heels down and onto the ground, fold forwards for a moment. Usually that means elbows on your legs or just resting forwards. You're going to bend through your knees, stretch up and out with the fingertips all the way up and overhead, and hands are coming down to your heart. We're going to come down to the floor now, so if you want to bring yourself to comfortable sitting, and we're going to, if you bring your feet to just in front of you, and then you're going to choose, you might want just to have your feet in front of you like this, or the option is to come up and onto your feet so that you're squatting. So just be aware that this creates quite a strong bend through the back of the knees. So for some people this isn't appropriate. Do check my website for details on when to say yes and when to say no. And then from here you're just going to wrap your hands around your knees. You're going to let your hands settle towards the back of the body so it can come onto the back of the sacrum. But I'm quite enjoying the feeling of just that openness. So there's a little connection through the hands, shoulders wrapping down, and there's a feeling of the tummy move and the rib cage moving out and round. So we're moving into the open space. And then bring yourself back to the centre. Let's come out just for a moment. So knees onto the floor, extend one leg back, and then the other leg back. Both knees on the floor, we're going to walk ourselves back if you want to, or stay with the legs out in front. Again, arm wraps round your leg, hand settles onto the back of the body, tummy moves round and into the open space, as does the rib cage. We stay steady and grounded down through the feet, shoulders release away. And we breathe evenly as well. Bring yourself back to the front. Take hands onto the floor. Step one leg back. And the other leg back. And then if you bring yourself to a position where you can do some breathing, so a position that's comfortable for you. You're just going to let your hands settle somewhere onto your legs, and as you breathe in, your fingertips are going to come together. As you breathe out, they're going to gently open. So follow your breath. Easy breath in, easy breath out. See if you can allow your fingertips to join as gently as a flower petal or a flower bud, gently closing at night. And then opening like petals of a flower. So this is sometimes called lotus breathing, so you can imagine a little lotus flower. and let your hands just come to settle into a quiet position. Feel that little contact between the pads of the fingers and the thumb. Notice where in your torso and your belly you're breathing. So where is the main movement happening? Notice the speed of your breath. And most important, notice the quality. How does it feel? Does it feel that lovely, free, open breath? Do you need to stretch a little bit more? Open out, and then when you settle back down, then do you get that slightly freer, like, easy breath. So my challenge for you today, I have just been to the Pop Fest in Perth, which is lots of different makers showing their stuff, all their lovely handmade pots, and there's often a really beautiful tactile quality to the work. So my challenge for you today is to have a look at the things that you've got in your cupboard. And I just said look, but I'd like you to go and touch some of the things that you have. You're just your everyday items, your plates or bowls, or you might have a particular bowl that you quite like, and just notice the tactile quality in your hand. Notice the weight, notice the texture, notice the way that your hand meets different items of daily life. So it could be that you do it for a toothbrush, but I was thinking of more the pottery ware within your house, because we all have to use, well, we don't have to use plates, to be fair. We all tend to use plates, and it's quite interesting how we meet the items that we use every day. So go and make friends with the things that you have in the daily things that you use, and enjoy them, and then celebrate the tactile quality rather than going, I love that colour, or I love that design. But how does it feel in the hand? That ultimately, that connection between an item and your body can be a really good teacher. It's a bit like the item being the pose, the yoga pose, and your body. Is there a harmony between the two? Are they separated things that become very mentally active, or is it a real tactile, kinesthetic harmony between you, which is obviously ideally what I think would be fantastic. And my quote for you today, I'm going to come a little bit closer because I've got it open here. It's a Zen proverb. How you do anything is how you do everything. How you do anything is how you do everything. Challenging one, I'd say, but I hope it serves you well, inspires some creative thought, and brings you back to the small things, the tiny moments of life. Thank you.